The U.S. Marine Corps flew large numbers of aircraft in Vietnam on short-range attacks from their bases at Chu Lai and Da Nang. Aircraft types involved were the A-4 Skyhawk, A-6 Intruder, F-4 Phantom, and F-8 Crusader, used almost exclusively as ground attack mud movers.
But the Marine Corps is really the only service that is totally self-supporting. We have our ground troops, we have our helicopters to get them in and get them out, we have our jets that provide close air support and make strategic strikes, and we don't have to really, well, I guess we rely on the Navy to get us there to venues where we need to be, but we basically support our own.
These were controlled by fast-back aircraft such as TA-4s and the Grumman TF-9 Cougars, and an element of electronic combat measures was provided by the Douglas EF-10 Skyknight, a modified version of a Korean War vintage jet night fighter.
You could fly any place from 6 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning. That particular flight had a particular mission. It was either a helicopter escort or a strike on a strategic target. You went to the ready room about an hour before your flight, and you got a briefing from the intelligence people and the operations people. And we were on the west side of the airfield, and our flight line was on the east side. So we had to drive around in a truck, which is 2 or 3 miles, to the flight line, to the hangar where all the planes were, and you went in, you checked out your airplane, you got an airplane, you checked out the logbook on the airplane to see what was wrong with it, and then you went out and got in the airplane, you pre-flighted it, walked around it, checked out every part of it to make sure it was operational. Then you strapped in and fired it up and went out to the runway and took off.
The Marines always had at least 2 aircraft sitting on the runway on what was called a hot pad. The planes had been pre-flighted and were hooked up to the compressor starter ready to take off. The alert pilots were in their gear waiting nearby. When the bell went off, they ran out of the trailer, jumped into the F-4, and could be airborne in about 3 minutes.
On the missions where they're off the hot pad, which is in response to some ground guys being in trouble, you're focused on saving those guys, on helping save those guys. I mean, they're doing the hard work. I mean, they're in the jungle, they're face to face with the bad guys. I mean, they're 50 feet away from them, if that far away from them. You know, we're flying around in an air-conditioned airplane, you know, and we're removed from, you know, the personal nature of the war. And we want to do the best that we can do to make their job easier and get them out of trouble.
Within 15 minutes, the ground troops would have the jet overhead, ready to drop their payloads in support of the Mud Marines.
I'm thinking back to one particular mission. It was our commanding officer's birthday, and we were having a party for him in the officers' club. And the call came in. The hot pad, the weather was terrible, and the hot pad was shut down. And the call came in as we need 2 planes to go up to the DMZ, that a Marine patrol has been ambushed, and a helicopter's gone in to get them out, get the wounded out, and it's been shot down, and another helicopter's gone in to get that one out, and it's been shot down. So we've got 2 helicopters, 2 crews, and a patrol in the DMZ, surrounded by a superior force of North Vietnamese and Viet Cong troops.
The mission was so dangerous, the wing commander called for volunteers to provide close air support.
And they called for volunteers, so myself and a buddy volunteered to go up there. And we went to the other side. We got in the planes as quick as we could, and we got up there, and it was a mess. It was thunderstorms, and it was in the mountains, and you couldn't see. You could only see the mountains when the lightning flashed. There was a C-130, I think, flying around, trying to direct us to where the helicopters were, but you could only see little glimpses of them on the ground through the cloud.
Northcutt and his wingmen circled the battlefield, hoping to distinguish friend from foe. As they lingered over their target, they began to receive enemy fire.
When there's hostile fire, you're supposed to make one run and get out of there so as not to risk the airplane. But we made 4 or 5 runs because we didn't want to drop all our ordnance in one run and have it not be in the right spot and not be able to adjust and go back and get it where it needed to be. So we made 4 or 5 runs and went back to Da Nang.
For Northcutt, his day was not over.
We got back, got in 2 more airplanes, went back up.
Thousands of ground troops alive today owe their lives to the flying leathernecks of Vietnam.